Ladies and gentlemen, are you ready?
All right, welcome back to another exciting episode of the podcast. Today we have an exciting special guest. How are you, sir?
Super excited. No, pretty good.
So, Andrew, tell me a little bit about yourself and how you got into the social media, digital side of things.
Well, once upon a time, uh, so I was a chemical plant operator for 10 years. As soon as I got out of high school, I went into the Army Reserves. As soon as I got back from the Army Reserves, pretty much fell right into the industrial area of the Houston, Southeast Texas region. And I always knew that it's not where I really wanted to stay. And I'd always had a passion for photography and videography. Well, shortly after that, I started doing bodybuilding and modeling, and I got really tired of paying for photo shoots, like just absolutely tired of it. So I bought a camera, and the next thing I know, I started doing more research into like how to be a better photographer and all this stuff, and that led me into exactly what is a social media influencer? How do these people make money? And then when I saw, I think the kid was like 19, I was 24 at the time, and I saw this kid making like millions of dollars online, like through social media. I was like, this is the direction I want to go. Now, 10 years later, I'm still not where I want to be, but that started a very long road of entrepreneurship, business, photography, videography, marketing, and I'm pretty much have done it all, or at least had my fingers in some aspect of that whole scale. So that's kind of where I started, kind of what led me into it. I can go in deeper, but that's just like an overall picture of like what got me to here today.
See, that's very cool because myself personally, I have a automotive background, so this was new to me up to a couple years ago, and I'm still tripping over myself trying to perfect everything down to an art. And I think it takes a special breed of person to do this kind of stuff.
Honestly, it's not even about, it's not anymore. People don't care anymore about, like, used to, technology was at a point to where you had the advantage being able to edit video really well or like make creative things online. But with the introduction of AI and all the new tools they have with the iPhones nowadays and Samsungs, like learning to be creative doesn't even like play anymore. It's being able to replicate a process that provides value over and over again. So as long as you keep that in mind and keep it super simple, you don't even have to know all the rest of the stuff.
And see, that's one of the things that not really attracted me to it, but that made it a challenge is because it doesn't have to be perfect. It doesn't have to be scripted, and yet you have to be able to find what works for you in what you're doing.
That is the $1 million question. Because I started in bodybuilding doing photography. I decided to formulate my own pre-workout. I created my own pre-workout and started selling it in stores. From there, I got into just the marketing side of a couple outdoor brands. That led me into creating my own. I spent 7 months designing and creating my own fishing line of shirts. I trademarked the design, everything. Like that fell over into what I do next. I quit my job and went on the road full time as a content creator, videographer for a group of my friends. Then became their manager for a little while, and then just this smorgasbord of just different types of everything. So, and I still just now, recently, within the last year, really feel like I've found my place, kind of where I fit into all of this.
Yeah,
So
it's
it's
amazing, and it's amazing how long the process can be. Some people get lucky, but I feel like when they achieve that little bit of success, it doesn't last long. But the people that it takes a little longer, the process is a lot more worth the journey, and the end of the road, so to speak, is a lot sweeter than it would be if you just uploaded one and then all of a sudden.
So I've seen that happen to a lot of people. A couple videos, they go super, super, super viral, and the next thing you know, they all fall apart within a year later. It is a very long road done correctly, but I almost feel bad for the people that have that instant fame because 90% of the time they lose it because they don't have the fundamental skills built to be able to handle that properly. And I saw this later when I started seeing people that were, for lack of better words, I was jealous of, because I've been working for so many years and it hadn't happened for me, but they come in and within a couple months, boom. And what I saw the gap is where I kind of fit into all this is I understand the back end of things really, really well. I understand how to monetize properly. I understand like creating affiliate links, how to integrate things into Shopify, how to build your own products. Building the brand side of stuff is an art in itself, and at the end of the day, it takes two different people to do that. You can't do that and then also be the back end person. So what I've done in the last year or so is I actually help influencers who have those large followings but don't really quite know what to do with them. I sit them down, I counsel them, and I help them monetize their following in a way that'll last long term. That way they just don't become irrelevant. Because that happens to a lot of influencers, especially with TikTok and how TikTok algorithm pushed a bunch of people super famous for basically nothing. And now the algorithm's kind of scaled back and it's kind of pushing more value towards people, and some of these people are struggling. They really are.
Yeah, and for me, it's like most people who like doing this kind of thing, it's not about the money. It's about the creative freedom that you have to do what you want to do and share that with other people.
That is true. That's the reason I got started. I realized that I was making at the time $120,000 a year, but when I did the math, I would gladly trade that for 40,000 a year, with being able to go and do and be anywhere I want. Like that to me, that was more freedom than being rich, like 100%. And that's what really started me down this road. I was 25, and I remember we were picking vacation because we all worked on seniority. And I remember doing the math because some of these guys would always get Christmas. Well, they've been there so long. And I realized I have 40 more years left at this company after I'd already been there 5. And 5 felt like an eternity. And I was like, no, I'm not. No, not for me. Not for me. And at that, I was 25. And I remember I deleted every game out of my phone. I quit watching sports, and I literally committed all my free time to bodybuilding and then getting more business oriented to figure out what I needed to do to set myself up.
And see, that's interesting because it takes that mindset of I may not know how to get there, but I'm going to find a way. And if I don't know the answer, I'm going to find somebody who can help me find the answer.
And honestly, I did it brick and mortar because I didn't really know how to network at the time. So I have literally been in Google more than a person really should. Between Google and YouTube, I'm all self-taught, but I didn't have those connections in the beginning. Because a lot of times, it's sad to say it, but sometimes a little number next to your name, like a decent following, can get somebody to read your message or not. So like trying to reach out to the right people, to get in contact with the right people, it literally, the camera and me providing content for people really got my foot in the door with a lot of people that allowed me to really like get the help that I needed to really expedite that, because an hour with the right person will save you 6 months in time.
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, from the time I first sent you a message on Instagram, you helped me tremendously. I feel like even just the little small things that I didn't even realize.
Well, I tend to get called an asshole, just honestly, because I'll see somebody and like it's not that I'm rude, it's just that I'm so blunt all the time because I do this basically till midnight every day, that constructive criticism to me is just criticism. Like it just comes and goes. So like I throw it out there just trying to help people and not even realize like the context I throw it out there sometimes. And my my wife's been working with me on that. I've been trying to be a little nicer, but when I see somebody who's trying to aspire and like I've been through those growing pains, I'd rather just do this and this. This probably help you out. You know.
Yeah, I mean, when I got that message about beacons and all that, I was reading that, and then, you had mentioned that you weren't trying to be mean or anything. Of course,
That's fine. You
but
got
yeah,
actually.
no,
I'm the kind of person that's like nobody ever helped me, so I'd rather be that person.
gotcha. But see,
So,
I appreciate it.
and that brings me to the question. What is your goal down this path? I saw like your YouTube, you've been interviewing a lot of people. So like what's the overall goal with your podcast, and like where are you trying to move towards? I love it.
I
Yeah, my backstory is extensive. Like people sometimes think I'm 50 years old because the amount that I've done in a shorter period of time. But I mean, at one point, like I'm about 205 right now, but at one time I was 252 pounds, getting ready to try to go pro, like in bodybuilding. Like I was a monster, and then I'm also up until about a year and a half ago, I was a licensed boat captain because I love fishing. I wanted to go do that, and then I did it for 3 days in a row and realized that I don't want to do this. But originally, when I up until TikTok, I didn't. I would meet people through Instagram, but not really. You know, TikTok really like some of my best friends right now I've met through TikTok, and I'll never forget. It was right before COVID, and I'm one of those people. I want to go and meet you. I want to go. This online relationship stuff is cool and all, but so I remember flying to Pennsylvania to meet one of my really good friends who 6 months later passed me. Not only passed me up in followers, but has like one of the highest viewed videos of all time on TikTok. So like that's where I said the jealousy sometimes comes in. You're like, no, but you gotta understand the process. And since then, I do a lot of road trips throughout the year. And every time I go on a road trip, I make a point to meet somebody new. And last summer, she's gonna kill me, Lauren. I started this same concept of brought my mic and everything with me, but I don't get to really get outdoors as much as I used to. So trying to go outdoors and do content and just. But I have 2 episodes filmed now, and my goal was to on the road just have a podcast episode with whoever I meet up with. Is I'm meeting up with people all the time across the country, and same way. I really enjoy the story. What were these people like? It's just a different scene, and even when I was going live on TikTok all the time, I hated watching people on live like in their bedroom. Drove me insane. So I would make a point to like either I live next to a lake. I'd get on my kayak, go out in the lake, then go live. Or like if it's at night, I'm out in the garage. Like I've always wanted to be. I want to show people the world, you know. And so I said I love the idea of like traveling, and there's so much history. Not only history in this country that people don't know about, but the stories that people have to tell are just insane. And sometimes it's not the person who's got a million followers. It could be the most boring person you've ever met in your life. But some of these other people who have grinded it out really have some interesting stories. Really though, versus like, you know, I do like some of these like I watch a lot of the business podcasts, but a lot of like these famous people podcasts, other than Joe Rogan, like most of them it's just like the conversations, like we know what to expect when these people get on there and talking, you know, like it's very rare that we get somebody on there and you're like, I have no idea that was like, I think that's why people love Joe Rogan so much, is because you really never know, like you got a UFC fighter on one week and a scientist on the next, and you're like, whoa, and like I love the idea of it. I love just meeting people in general. And but that failed for me just because. So a little backstory is my wife's a travel nurse, so we move every 3 to 6 months. So the last 2 years we are just been all over the place, and in the last year we've been in California, and it's been hard. It's been hard being a Texan in California and then an outdoorsman as well, because we have to be close to these hospitals because my wife works, and that's all I'm going to say. It's just been rough. So starting a podcast, I'm a very all or nothing person, and I didn't want to. I started it. I had 2 episodes filmed, and I just kind of have it on the shelf right now until I can get consistent with it. Well, I can help you with like my desk setup because I have to move it so often. It's basically an all-in-one, so I've got it pretty much. And I was doing the same thing with my truck because one of my sponsors has this tailgate on the back, so it's like comfy to sit on. After about 20 minutes, my back was killing me, so I got to figure something out. But I was going to call it the Influencer's Tailgate. But I basically have it designed where pretty much an all-in-one podcast in a suitcase that you can just grab and go. So I can tell you what to buy, what arm you need, and everything to really be as beneficial as possible on the road. Because one thing I've really had happen in the last year that I've been through so many mics, like a lot of mics, just like between like the little cheap recording ones, like some regular mics. The cords would, I would do like a 25-foot cord on my camera so I could talk. So I was like, all right, I got good audio. Well, then the cord would have a whining noise in it because it was a cheap cord. Like I've had so many audio problems that when I say the first things first is just spend the money on a good mic and then have it with you. And pretty much from there, it's just repetition and you're doing it right. A lot of people just try to do like the most perfect thing up front without doing the repetitions. But like, I don't know if you've heard the clay pot analogy.
No,
Like a professor gave his class, he divided the class. One side of the class, their job was to make one perfect pot at the end of the month. The other side of the class was to make as many pots as possible. Well, the side of the class that actually made as many as possible ended up making a perfect pot because of repetition. So it's the same concept here. You might have started with the audio, but now you're getting the timing in your days right. Well, now you've integrated video. Okay, well, great. Now you're going to start, I can tell you a software that makes your shorts for you. So you start most of those shorts. Like, it's all about just compounding a baseline consistency. And that's with anything in life. If you can't do the baseline, and at least work on it, having the pretty picture of what you really want up top is never going to be obtainable. I want to say, did you comment on one of my photos too? Or was it just the message in the DM? So I think it might have been just a message, but I will say just a recommendation. When you send a message, leave a comment on a photo or something somewhere, because you got lucky. I get 30 to 50 spam messages a day that go into my, like, sometimes they don't load all the way, so I just hit delete all, because I already kind of see it's nothing but like sexy girl this, that. So like, I think I just cleared it, and I was checking it again that afternoon, and your message was still kind of up there. It barely missed the clear mark. So because of that, like, a lot of other influencers have the same exact issue. So if you send a message, I would suggest leaving a comment. Hey, I'm with so-and-so's podcast. So let's send you a message. Please check it, or check their bio for their email. Most of them have their email because of that reason. It's just messages are really hard to. One secret tip, if you really want to get in somebody's DMs, post a story and tag them in it. It's something that they maybe find really interesting, because the moment they comment back to you, because it gets sent when you tag somebody, it gets sent as a message. Well, the moment they respond, even if they say LOL or they like it, well, they've granted you access to message them directly. So you're no longer going to go hidden. And it comes like, I've got a couple famous people in my DMs. I'm just like, I'm waiting for that day that I just need to go ask a question. Because like I tagged, like, it was like a musician or something. I tagged him in and they responded in my DM. I'm just holding it there. Like, one day I'm gonna need to ask you something. I'll be able to immediately ask you. That's if they're even the ones controlling their Instagram. It's so bad. It's so bad. Like, I honestly don't understand at this point. Instagram's been around for so long. I literally do not know how they can't control it. Like, when you see a new account, all of a sudden just start spam messaging hundreds of people. So a long time ago, I was one of those people that paid for followers, and I had like 800 people that I ended up getting, and I canceled the account. Well, the way they have those bots set up, even though I canceled my account, they were following my account from other accounts, and so it totally screwed my algorithm to the point that at one point I was getting 3 follows and 3 unfollows a day, and this has been years since I had even been paid for that. I cannot go in because of the timing and everything. I've tried to remove people from my following. So what I have to do is I have to go in and I have to block them individually. And there's like little over 800 people on there that I'm trying to get rid of, that I haven't been able to get rid of for over a year, because Instagram only allows you to remove so many friends per day. And if not, they spam you and they stop you from removing people. And I'm like, my Instagram. Yeah. Yeah, I think I got spammed real hard once I figured out that Instagram Reels was popping off. I posted like 200 TikToks in like 2 days. So all my TikToks, I just wanted to get it over with. Posted all on my Instagram. Well, I gained like 10,000 followers in the first 2 months, and then they just capped me. So I haven't grown in 3 years. Like, that 14K you see on my Instagram has been there for like almost 3 years. I can't get any traction whatsoever, because I literally think they flagged me as spam from posting so many times. But it really was me. I manually did all that. So if I post too much, like on my story, I like posting my story because it gets directly to the people that follow me. They actually limit my reach. But I have noticed that if I wait a week or so and then post a story, it does better than anything did in the last month. So like, you got to find like a weird sweet spot of posting and not posting for them to even like think about pushing out your content. It's so annoying. Depends on the message and the customer that or it's like customer, but eventually, I mean, they are a customer, or the people that you're trying to reach. So like, originally TikTok was just my goof off stuff. A lot of my content there was strictly TikTok related, to do dancing. I used to dance on my kayak a lot. When COVID hit, I couldn't really get out and do anything. So I made like food review videos, and then I became like the Buc-ee's guy for a little while. Like, everybody tagged me in Buc-ee's content, and my content's kind of developed differently over the years just because I've moved around so much, and that's kind of actually hurt me. But when it comes to my YouTube's very, like, I do install videos on truck parts. I do technical videos over how to use camera equipment and stuff like that. Like, very informational, specific that I know people are looking for, because that's YouTube. Like that platform, what people go to that platform for. They don't go for cat videos like we did when we were kids. You know, they don't go for like we can get that on other platforms. And Instagram, honestly, I just have Instagram because you still have people there that refuse to download TikTok, but they don't want to watch Facebook Reels. And then if I'm pitching a brand, the first thing they do is they're going to go look at my Instagram. They're going to look at all my photos. It's quick, easy. It's easily digestible as a person. So I really just have that as there as branding. But TikTok's easier to work with when I'm trying to reach people quickly. But when I'm trying for the long-term revenue or long-term customer base, it's going to be YouTube. One piece of software I will tell you that you need to download and integrate with your YouTube is called vidIQ. FIDIQ. It is the best overall 100% software you're going to find for YouTube. It was built for YouTube. Like, it is an algorithm that helps you compare channels. It helps you generate AI script ideas. It helps you find gaps in keywords and videos that people are searching for. Like, if you're really wanting to grow a YouTube channel and you don't have vidIQ integrated in there, like, you're going to be behind. Well, I barely crossed 700 this year. And I've had my YouTube channel for a few years, but this past year is when I really started hammering down on it. You've got to be posting the shorts. So what I do is I post shorts that point back to long form videos. A lot of people made the mistake of posting all their TikTok content to their YouTube channel, and then it doesn't really direct back to their long form videos, so it hurts their long form videos. So your overall watch time goes down. It's just not the same algorithm. So all my short videos point back to YouTube videos. I don't really post any of my TikTok content there because it's not beneficial. It's a slow grind, but once you start getting traction, like I started getting traction and then we moved again. So pushing the kind of content that I do, really seeing the benefit. Then I've got other friends of mine like grew their channel over 60,000 people in the last year. But when you see the workload that these people put in, I mean, like my friend that did that, he's going to school, still in semester. He's fishing almost every single day. He's putting out 3 YouTube videos a week. He is like, his girlfriend doesn't hardly see him, but he is committed to that 100%. And that's when you're by yourself, just kind of doing everything on, like you almost have to put out that much content just to stay relevant, unless it's like super, super, super niche specific stuff. And when I started doing all the F-150 overlanding stuff is kind of when I started to see a bigger jump because nobody really made content around that. So I just kind of you know what, I'm going to stick with this and I'm already doing the work anyway, so I might as well do that. And then specifically targeted install videos and videos that I would see, like a lot of people have the videos of like my truck has that 360 lighting where everybody does the video in the parking lot. Well, I'm outdoors, so I have a drone, so I threw it up and did like a drone view of like it at night, and nobody else had done that. You know, like people would ask those questions. I saw the questions and I plugged it in vidIQ, and it was enough for me to like, okay. So when you're short on time, vidIQ will also help you like, hey, look, these are the areas you probably should really focus your time in because it's the most benefit, you know. It helps you it also helps you compare thumbnails to other videos similar to yours to see if it's gonna pop or not. So like it for $10 a month, it is more than a steal to have that piece of software because then it will also write scripts for you. It's literally the only reason why YouTube has grown in the last year. Like paying attention to softwares and data and not trying to worry about trends. TikTok is very trend driven. Very trend driven. Right now, TikTok Shop is very pushed hard. So if you even post a single video that says the word shop in it, like you're probably gonna do pretty well. You know, like the trends on TikTok are hard to follow because they change every 2 weeks. So like if you're not staying up relative with the content, and by the time you film it, if it's a month later, by the time you post it, it's not even relevant anymore. But with YouTube, you can put out content that 3 years from now, if somebody goes and buys a Go Rhino roof rack for an F-150 that your model, they're probably going to find my video. So I kind of redirected most of my social media content back to YouTube because the system there is still accurate. The system there still works, and I can actually track it versus TikTok and Instagram where it's like the Wild West, man. It's like you're almost a free for all. If you're not triggering somebody in some of your videos, then you're not really doing anything right. And so really though, like you really don't. And hell, one summer I was an Uber driver just because I got bored. Like I quit drinking and partying, and like I was able to afford a boat, and like I just got bored. And I was actually trying to save a little more money on the side for my wife's engagement ring, and one of the people I picked up one day happened to be the Carnival Cruise Line's instructor for all like the ice skating choreography.
Wow.
Yeah, you really don't know and that's why I tell everybody like don't say no. Try it. Do something. If you're like go grab life by the horns because the more experience you have in this life, the more people you're gonna have an outreach to, like it only benefits you more. It's like going out of the country. I know people that have never even left their state. Get out of the country. Your perspective on the world is just gonna be like totally different. Yeah, I always got tired of, man, Europe, the way they view vacation, they have what they call holiday. And it's more customary for people to take a whole month off and go somewhere. That's pretty normal. Like European countries, everywhere else has a holiday. Like right now in China, they have the Chinese New Year. Everything's shut down till like almost March 1st. Everything. Like a whole month of like holiday. And when people take holiday in like London, they go for a month. So like every time I left the country and I was only somewhere for a week, people would ask me, where are you going next week? I'm like, home. I gotta go back to work. And I started to realize that how much I'm working and I only get 2 weeks off, like it's supposed to be something. And I'm like, and nowadays, be real honest. This last quarter, I started applying for marketing jobs to make up some income. These job requirements, they want you to have a bachelor's degree. They want you to be able to create social media content, edit the content, and then also run data analysis and marketing campaigns on that content. I'm like, well, first of all, that's 5 different people. Good luck getting somebody with a bachelor's degree to understand even how to create social media content because these people are way behind. I've got a friend of mine who's an influencer right now in film school, and he's like, there's just such a disconnect between the people that go to school for it and the people that just do it, And like employers nowadays want a full marketing team out of one person. And the best analogy I like to use is, when you go to get photography done for your wedding, you don't go grab somebody that does wedding venues and car shoots and bikini shoots. You go get a wedding photographer. It is the same thing with social media. You want YouTube content, you go grab a YouTuber. You don't grab a TikToker thinking they're going to put out YouTube content. It's not going to work. You don't go grab a video editor because they know how to edit video and thinking they can do the social media content editing too. Like, they don't even understand it.
Yeah.
So, like, I have tried it. I've been down that road trying to explain that with other video editors who aren't creators in the same sense, and like they only do like YouTube, or they only do shorts, but the shorts are a specific way. I'm like, just job requirements in general these days have gotten so much steeper, and the pay hasn't changed. And what you're going to see,
And that's nuts.
I called this a year ago, and then I started seeing some business podcasters talk about it in the last few months. What you're going to see, actually, I told this to a company I used to work with, was sponsored by until they hired a new marketing team, and then they kicked me off because I was telling them how wrong they were doing their job. But you're going to start seeing these marketing agencies and these marketing departments start headhunting content creators for their brand because it's not possible to hire somebody out of college to create social media content. It just isn't. Yeah, you have to. And like these marketing agencies, marketing teams on these departments, put it this way, Revent Optics is one of my big thing with all my sponsors is I'll spend the money myself and I go and visit their headquarters. So like I visited their headquarters and I'm talking to their whole marketing team, which collectively probably $500,000 in salaries. Well, Revent Optics only makes replacement lenses that are only available online. And then they told me they had a billboard budget and how much their billboard budget was. And I was sitting there eating fries and I was like, billboard budget? Why are you spending money on billboards? And they all kind of looked at each other and they're like, well, it's advertising. Like you have billboards. I was like, when's the last time you were driving and saw a billboard and pulled out your phone and looked up something? And all their eyes just went, and it got quiet. And I'm sitting there like, I was sitting there eating. I was like, wouldn't it be better to like just push more money in advertising based on their customer base and where majority of your lenses are being sold? And they just crickets. And I was like, so how's the weather been here in Portland? It's just, but you saw the deer in the head because it was so ingrained in them in college and like their typical marketing experience that like you have billboards. I'm like, there's nowhere near that billboard that I can go buy that. Like with Buc-ee's in Texas, there's 30 billboards leading up to Buc-ee's off the highway. I'm like, there's a reason. I can physically go in there. But like, nobody's looking at a billboard and gonna look it up on their phone. But I don't understand. And that common sense stuff is probably why they kicked me out when the new marketing manager came in. Because I was like, I gave them some ideas. I was like, you could do this, this, and this. And they're all like, why do we never think of that? I go, I don't know. I don't have a marketing degree, but I know people. I know how people buy things. And I was like, put yourself in a person's shoes when you're thinking about, I think their billboard budget was like $5 to $8 grand a month. And I'm like, that money could be well spent somewhere else. So, but that goes back to, I've been in the trenches. I didn't have a degree. I don't have any preconceived notions. I have what I see in front of me from the ground up. And sometimes it sucks, but it's more beneficial that way. And honestly, it's crazy how much it's simple. Simple sells, fancy fails. It's one of the people I follow, Alex Hormozy, follow him to a T. Him and Layla are like my marketing Jesuses. But and that really stuck with me. And I was like, you know what? If I keep it simple and be able to replicate it, it's a lot likelier chance that I'm not going to fail. Because I think that's what I've done too much in the past, is just try to make stuff too fancy, and then that part of it took over besides focusing on the stuff that really mattered. Yeah, and that's the other thing is entrepreneurship and social media. I mean, it all kind of wraps it up together, but not enough people understand failure, and like they look at it as a negative thing, but it's really not, because if you're not failing, you're not trying. And that's what I try to tell a lot of people. I've sat down with so many people and they look like, I don't want to be rude, but listen, and I try to I've been here, let me help you out, but some people take it such the wrong way and take it to heart. And then usually what happens is I'll get a phone call or a text a year or two later, hey, so what you told me was kind of true. And I was like, but sometimes you have to let people fall on their face for them to really understand, because I beat my head into the wall trying to help some of my friends with some of the things that they were going through entrepreneur wise, before I finally realized that they just weren't going to get it until they fell on their face. And that's the thing is not just trying it and see if it works, but trying it for an extended period of time while it's not working. And this is honestly something I've struggled with really hard in the last year, because I do see a lot of people having success really quick. And it has never been a quick thing for me. My environment constantly changes, which doesn't help either. But sitting down and only choosing one path, I have a tendency to pick 4 or 5 at a time. That's why, right now, I own an online firearm business. Me and my wife own an Airbnb. We have a real estate LLC. And then I have brand creators, which I'm really trying to get off the ground as well. And I've kind of had to set my own personal content to the side and swallow my pride to be able to get the rest of this path going. But knowing that it's not doing anything right now, that this process that I'm working on isn't going to pay off till later, is one of the hard things about entrepreneurship a lot of people do not reconcile with. It's not necessarily doing something perfect, but it's being able to do it for a long period of time before it's perfect and not giving up. That's why, statistically speaking, most podcasts don't make it past the 40th episode, like 90% or something like that. So, I mean, just even doing 40 podcast episodes puts you in the 10th percentile of podcasts.
See, that's nuts.
But it's so simple. All you have to do is 40 episodes. They didn't say 40 perfect episodes. They didn't say, but be able to film and meet and do 40 times, you're in the 10th percentile. Okay, now I did it. What's the next step? What do I work on next? And you just compound a consistent pattern, and that's what most people don't do. They'll do 10 or 15 and realize, it's whatever, and then give up. I'm like, well, did you really try? Well, what's going on?
I think
you don't even know. You don't have to I have 9 years of learning how to use a Mac software to edit. So I started editing videos with on fitness videos. So super high frame rate, transition between music for muscle movements and doing all of down to I now just grab my iPhone and a phone gimbal and then record a little bit and done. My knowledge base versus what people actually care about, which is the sustenance of the videos, has changed so drastically. And that's due to technology. things that I used to be able to do only could do with a computer software I can do with a phone app, and the prices. So
Yeah.
like my camera setup is about $4,500. My laptop's another 4,000. I had bought both those in the same year, and then now because Mac decided to upgrade to their own silicon chips a year later, a lot of the softwares that I normally would use are starting to become obsolete or less desirable because my computer's out of date, so I have to update it. You know, it's just like, or the updates for the big cameras. So like the new cameras can, like the Samsung phones, which by the way are insane. Like the zoom and the 8K quality, it never transfers over correctly to iPhone. I mean, over to social media. You always know who has an Android. The videos just don't codec right. But the iPhones, even the 4K in the iPhones is so clear sometimes. I'm like, why am I even bothering picking up my camera? But there are some times that's really the camera quality and the audio. Other than that, that's
And then just grow from there.
literally it. So I have some friends of mine. They have almost 1 million followers on YouTube. It's the Arms Family Homestead. Literally all iPhone. All iPhone. All they do is wake up in the morning, and this is how it started. And the guy that runs it, Daniel, is such a down to earth person that he still doesn't like. Even when they had like a large following, he's like, I don't understand why these people watch my videos. Like all I do is go out, I film what I'm doing each morning, feeding the animals, and we talk about, you know, I'm gonna go dig this pond over here, you know, and people just love watching it. Like it's like a reality TV. He's still even now just like shocked that they even have that many followers. Just he's a very humble person too, and that sometimes that's it. Just grab your phone and like put the content out there, and like people build it up too much in their head. I was actually speaking with a girl earlier. She had posted this video and she was like, "Oh, I'm doing her traps like this," and she's like, "You can call me Trap Queen," but I was like, "Okay, I'm gonna make a little joke." Well, I went to comment and it said comments are turned off. I was like, so I sent it to her and I was like, "Hey, I'm trying to call you Trap Queen, but the comments are turned off." She's like, "Well, I don't want people saying hateful things and this and this and that, and then, but I still want to try to build a following." And I was like, "Look, you cannot build a following without some hate. You have to have some hate. I don't care who you are. If you're not getting hate, you're doing something wrong." But I love it. I love going there. I'll like poke at people back just so they comment back and forth and get my engagement up, and then I'll just drop out and let my followers take care of it. It happens all the time. And I had to explain to her that scenario. I was like, "Look, like either you do it or you don't. But at the end of the day, I would rather say I tried it, didn't like it, and then delete an app, and then all those people go away. Like just delete it off your phone, then all those people go away. No more mean comments. Or would you rather leave the comments off and then wonder what if?" I don't care how good of a person you are. Look at Mr. Beast. He was giving out free meals to people and got called. I think he got called racist or something. I don't know. But I'm like, here's a man doing nothing but good things all the time, and somebody's trying to exploit him, saying he's doing something worse. I'm like, you can't win in today's society, so might as well play the other side of it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's just, you're just going to have to let it roll off your back. And it is what it is. And if you're not getting hate, you're not doing it right. If you're not getting hate, then you're not building a following either. So, but what about you? I mean, so I guess you work at Firestone?
Yeah.
We'll see. Well, that honestly is a job that's never going to go away. People are always going to need work on their vehicles, you know.
Exactly.
There's always new problems, especially with all the tech and everything that we're dealing with now. But what would you say is like, let me see if I can phrase this question right. What other than, I know we spoke about, you know, what prompted you to want to do this, but what in your workplace prompted you to want to start social media? Because it's always a trigger in the workplace first.
You
My
know,
laptop's screaming right now. That's another thing. So like, I say screaming, but like, they updated the software, so now when I run my camera, it like for some reason pulls on the CPU, which causes the fans to turn on. And no, it'll fix itself in about 6 months with an update. But until then, it's just a nightmare. So I'm just thankful I'm able to get my camera working. But yeah, I mean, if you're translating basically what you're doing at work right into something else, I mean, then you're not really working ever, or how would I say that? So you're not really creating extra work for yourself outside of work. Unlike some of us, like, you know, when I work shift work, I was 4 to 4. So I get up at 3 a.m., get my things together, go to work from 4 to 4, get off, go to the gym, come home, eat, take maybe a small nap, get up, make content, edit the content, post the content, and then go to bed, get my 4 or 5 hours of sleep, wake up and do it all over again the next day. Like all completely different items, not even related to each other. So to be able to like get off from a job and go home and basically still kind of do the same thing and not really add extra stress to your life, then it's really just comes down to recording and posting. Yeah, I forgot. Oh yeah, like I had my phone number list written down. I got to call somebody's house. They're not there. All right, I got to call the next house. Or like I literally remember going and riding my bicycles around the neighborhood looking for the bikes in the yard because that's whose house everybody was at. Like I didn't have a cell phone until I was almost 14. Like I wasn't one of those privileged kids. So like you want to talk to somebody, you went over to their house, so you called their home phone, asked their mom, "Hey, can I someone home?" I think it was Chris Rock that had the stand up that talked about like spending way more time with that spouse than people used to. Communication, especially in this line of work, especially if you're married, like I am, like communication is such a big deal. You got to be able to put the phone down, walk in the other room, both people, and discuss what's going on, discuss the path. Like when me and my wife got married, it was right around I was really getting hard into my entrepreneurship journey, and I had to sit her down, like, look, this is what it's probably going to look like. Are you okay with that? Like not enough people do that either. Like, a lot of people get real famous and then they don't really tell their spouse what's going through their head. They don't really tell their spouse what to expect for the next couple of months. Like they just kind of get tossed into it, and it usually doesn't end well. But communication in today's world it's never been easier. It's literally like most of my sponsors I've had, and way I set myself apart is when I email a sponsor or for potential sponsorship and they agree, I immediately try to set up a Zoom call. Not a phone call. I immediately try to set up a Zoom call. And sometimes they don't even turn their camera on. They accept it, so I'm good with it. But that right there has gotten my foot in the door with all my sponsors. Like one of my sponsors, I got like $5,000 worth of truck stuff. I don't have half the following that their other influencers have, but because I built that relationship with them, and then I drove to their headquarters and met them in person and like shook their hand. Just those two little pieces of communication totally set me apart. And that's something that used to be customary, is wanting to talk to somebody face to face versus nowadays. So it just makes it way easier. Communication has never been easier. And that's why, so like when it comes to buying tires, I really like, custom offsets. Everybody uploads their pictures of their vehicle with their setup and everything. I did that because I wanted that same, nobody had my setup that I had on my truck. So like custom, like those, and this is where Gary Vee touched on this a little bit about 6 months ago, and I said it even way before this. Community-based platforms, Facebook groups, they're so strong. And moving forward in the future, that trust network is going to be even stronger. That's why you've got apps like School coming out. It's like a community, it's like a subscription-based community. But like these communities are the most, people trust those other people more than they trust anything they believe on the internet. If I want to know the truth about something, I go to my Facebook community and I'm like, hey, I'll post a picture. Is this, and and I get an honest feedback or a smart ass remark a lot of times. But I know I can trust the experience from those people more than I can trust anything I read on a company website. Yes and no, because I had this conversation yesterday with a kid on live, and he asked me, where are we going with AI? And I've tested, the last year I've tested over 75 AI softwares and systems, just trying to keep a hand grip on where we're at. And nowadays, the video generation is getting a lot better. You've got the text-to-chat bots, so you can put like a chat bot and a little person that pops up, on your website. Well, now they've got video or software that records you. You can tell it's still animated when the mouth moves, but it's getting better. So, like, if I wanted to create an animated version of myself and then just text-to-speech content and let it make the videos for me, like just sitting there talking like this, I can do it. So I honestly think in the next few years, you're going to start seeing people have to go in and just like you claim your YouTube handle or any other handle online, you're going to have to start claiming your digital identity in the next few years because somebody can steal it. So go ahead. So Brand Creators was established because I saw the need. You have a lot of people, a lot of kids, these influencers come up, these marketing, these management agencies will snag them. And usually what they do is they cut them in for 15% of whatever brand deal they get them. But that's as far as the relationship goes. So like you're under contract for any brand deal that you get with a management company and you're paying them 15%. You've got kids that have no idea what an LLC is, no idea how to do their tax deductions, no idea that, getting paid through PayPal every month, even though you make 10 grand, you're not going to be able to get a loan on a car. Like, nobody is helping these people. And so what I do is I go in and I help influencers establish their own brands, establish their own management, because you don't need a manager anymore. Like, when you have the following, you can email these people directly. Like with Beacons, you can email your media kit directly. It's all the tools are there. And then I'm showing these people how to manage their money right. Like, I've gotten really, really good with my taxes. Last year I made almost 300K. I got my taxes down to 0. I didn't pay a single dime of taxes on any of it. So a lot of these influencers have these large followings and have absolutely no clue how to handle it. I have this other kid that I'm working with right now. He's got like almost 2,000 followers on YouTube. No affiliate links in his descriptions. Like, I don't make much, but I was showing him how to go on Amazon. You're already using this product. Set up your affiliate account. Put these in here. Like, a lot of people don't know that when you have an affiliate link for a product from Amazon, say they click that link and then it brings them to their Amazon and they forgot they had a bunch of other stuff in the cart, so they add that and buy it all. They started with your link, so you get a commission on everything they bought, even though it's not even related to what they saw. So taking advantage, like, it's everything full circle besides waiting on the one brand post. Like, are you funneling people to the YouTube? If you've got 1,000 followers and so much watch time, well, now you're building ad revenue. And then now you get people purchasing through those links in the bottom. Like, it's little bits at a time that eventually, as this all compounds, it starts creating revenue for these kids, and it's mainly kids, while they're sleeping. And that's the goal with social media. They don't know how to monetize that. They're waiting on the next brand deal, the next paid per post, and it's like, it's not really the way to go about it, or like they're promoting products for a 10% discount code and they don't hardly get paid anything. That same kid, I'm helping him because it's super easy. I know how to do it in a day or two. We're building his own clothing brand. Clothing is real easy, but we're doing like dog accessories too. He trains his hunting dog. So we're creating dog accessories. I know how to do all full custom products from the ground up because I've done it. So what seems like outrageous to most people, I don't know how to make my own thing. Like, I'm an inventor. I enjoy the inventing side of things. I've got a list of things I really want to come out with, but I'm just pushing it to the side right now. But that's the overall goal with brand creators, is to empower influencers through monetization of their own following and showing them to be their own business owners. So what I do is I take 20% cut of whatever I help design. Now, typically, there's also a startup fee, my upfront fee for the amount of like upfront work I got to do to get it established. And then a monthly revenue cost for Shopify management and wherever that wants to go. But I'm very transparent with everything I do. And other than the monthly fees for management, it's a 20% cut of whatever digital products I create for 1 year. And then you can either choose to re-sign with me, but I get a 5% royalty over the lifetime of that product. Or you can re-sign and I just continue on what we're doing as we're doing it. But my goal is to not just build somebody's brand, but show them how to run it. It does not benefit anybody for them to have somebody build them something, and then if I went to hand it to them, they have no idea what they're doing with it. So all in all, like, for me, I want to help the influencer community by bringing these people up right, showing them how to be their own business owners. Otherwise, the content creator as like a customer, or as an avatar in general, is going to continue to be that person you grab, you get them a brand deal, and then like they're just on to the next person. And it's like, nobody's really helping the creator community. Everybody's just taking advantage of them. And I just got tired of seeing it happen to so many of my friends that I wanted to do something. But in retrospect, at the same time, I've worked with influencers who don't really have the drive to want to be their own boss. So they're always going to work for somebody else, and that's fine. But at the end of the day, a lot of these people are still working full-time jobs while they have millions of followers that they're not making money off of, and it doesn't make any sense why somebody with a couple million followers is doing the same amount of work as somebody with 10,000 followers.
Right.
There's a problem there. So my goal is to fix that, and then I also would love to partner brands with influencers, like through my trust network. Like, I trust this brand, this marketing team. I think this influencer over here would be a great fit for your company. Let me pair you two together. Like, nobody's the middleman. So I know that's a lot at one time, but that's kind of like I'm very passionate
Yeah,
about it.
but
Like, take for instance, this is something that I know through my marketing because I owned a business and I couldn't afford my own marketing, so I had to learn how to do it. I had to learn how to do Google ads, Amazon ads, Facebook ads. I had to learn how to do it. I have a partnership with WeBoost, and I have an affiliate link through them. So every time somebody clicks it, I don't have to worry about them putting a discount code in. Now, it's only a 5% discount code for the customer, which sucks because 5% really isn't that much. But WeBoost doesn't offer discounts ever. There is no holiday discount. There is just a set price. So having 5% is the most people are ever going to get. And then they pay their creators, people who have the link, they pay them 10%. So it's 15% total, but 5% for the customer, 10%, which is great for us, but as a selling point, it sucks. But if you can't find a discount code anywhere else, what I did immediately when I got my affiliate link is I went back to all my videos I've done reviews on prior to even becoming a WeBoost affiliate, redid my descriptions, looked up, I have some other software for search engine optimization, looked up WeBoost, looked up anything related to that topic, and then I used ChatGPT to write me a new video description, tripling those keywords so I show up better in Google searches and YouTube searches, posted that in there, and then also put, hey, find my discount link below. I had $1,200 worth of commissions in my first month. That is the most off a 5% discount code, and I got 10%. So like, the items are about $500 a piece. So roughly about, I think it was like $50. So like so roughly 50. So like almost 30 sales in the first month.
wow.
So that's just me like fun. That's happened in December, and this is from a video I did last summer. So I saw it that it did really well. I'm getting paid pretty nicely for it. So what I did, and now I took that, and this is what you call taking a piece of organic content that does really well. You rebrand it and then do a call to action. So what I did is I took the thumbnail, changed the thumbnail because Google doesn't let you put words like discount in your ads and stuff like that because they're real funny about misleading people. But they don't say anything about the thumbnail. Because I'm promoting the video, I changed my thumbnail to say discount link on the inside or in my description. And then I'm running it as an ad through Google. So when somebody types in, WeBoost Sell Booster or whatever, it's costing me a lot. It's like $3 per click. But I think right now I'm at like 1,700 impressions every 3 hours. But because I know all of this, so what I did is I took that video, I'm running it as an ad, changed the thumbnail, and now I'm targeting people in the Google search with that video because I already saw it did well organically based off also my search engine optimization that I went back and did. Your average influencer isn't going to know all of this. So like my job I got a few of my friends, I manage their beacons. I manage their digital products that we've created using ChatGPT and some other softwares. Without even saying anything, I monitor the trends. I monitor Google Trends. I monitor search engine optimization, and I monitor their pages. And as I see things change, I change a description here. I change a review there. Like I help optimize the content itself. The influencer's job is to market. That is their job because some people are not going to learn this side of it, and it is complex. And I have a friend of mine who does marketing, doesn't even know how to do content at all because they are two different people. Don't want to pat myself on the back, but I'm a different person when it comes to all this. So I understand all sides of it. So I know how to really ramp up and really execute when it comes to this. So this is my first month. I've only been running that ad for 3 days, and I think I've already got like 20,000 impressions with roughly like 400 or 500 clicks, which is really high because before I ran a video ad on my Starlink video where I made my own custom Starlink mount for the Starlink Roam, and most people use the 3D ones, and I designed mine myself out of some plywood in the garage. So I was like, you can either spend $500 on the 3D mounted 3D printed mount, or you can just build it yourself. Buy the mount is what I went through with that nightmare. But I think I had almost 200,000 views on roughly $280 worth of ad spend, and 200,000 impressions. So that means they showed it in somebody's Google search 200,000 times, but it only had like 4,000 clicks. So, but I gained 4,000 extra views on my video for about $280. But like, you can kind of see where this is going, where I'm helping like this influencer of the day, his description was me and my dog out hunting. And I'm like, so we went through and we added all his Amazon links. We changed the description. We changed the thumbnail. And like all of a sudden, stuff just starts popping off. And it's like, if somebody would just sit down with these people and show the people who really want to know more, this community would be different. Instead of people having a stigma about, like you say the word influencer, and it's kind of like, probably some kid, or like, there's like this real stigma with that word. And I really want, my goal with brand creators is to change that. And I fully understand now, and it took a really long time, but my role in content creation isn't to be in front of the camera all the time. It's to help other people do the business side of it to better themselves. So,
right.
I know that's
and see, that's what I struggle with. Works.
vidIQ. I could sit here and show you. They literally do all of that. Maybe not the thumbnail part, but like, I mean, you can put your thumbnail in, and it'll show you other videos. It'll do, based on the video description, it'll give you a better AI description prompt. And like, SEO basically comes down to how relevant is the description to what you're posting. So like, same with the hashtag. So if I hashtag this business, it's probably going to show up under that hashtag. You know, if I hashtag Barbie, the algorithm's probably going to look at that and be like, hey, why is this even, you know, it just doesn't make any sense. Search engine optimization also comes in triples. So like, if I was posting videos like this from this specific podcast, you know, I'd tell ChatGPT, okay, look, this is a podcast between this person and this person. For this reason, I want to target business, entrepreneurship, and, you know, lifestyle keywords. Can you make me an optimized description for this YouTube video? And that just comes with learning prompt engineering for AI. Once you understand what YouTube wants and what optimizes, which I learned through vidIQ, I didn't realize that you're supposed to triple the keywords. I just reprompt ChatGPT and created my own little GPT YouTube description, like perfectionist. And I just copy paste, and he literally just spits it out. So I don't edit my shorts either. I use Opus Clip. So once my YouTube video is posted, the next day I grab it, the link, drop it in Opus Clip, and it makes all my clips for me. And that's why I got the little words that pop up and stuff. And you can do some minor editing to line it up correctly. But yeah, that's how like I've got a folder full of 50 shorts right now. I should probably schedule it sometime at some point, you know. But
yeah, and see,
get it out there.
That's what I've noticed.
So with all platforms, no matter which one you're on, this is one thing they do have in common. They do promote content to users who use the platform more. So with TikTok, I realized very early on, I would post a video and then go live right after. Go live. Like the more I went live, the more my other content just started really ramping up. Anytime they introduce a new feature, go in there and use it. You have to, like they're promoting parts of the algorithm. Also take into account how often do you go live? How often do you promote this? How much do you use this feature? Sometimes I just edit within TikTok just to get the algorithm going, you know? I do use a lot of repurposing software. Like my favorite one is repurpose.io. So when I post to my TikTok, one of my flows starts with YouTube. So anytime I post anything to my shorts folder, it immediately pulls it in and posts it to TikTok with a different caption. Then it goes from there, it posts to my Facebook and my Instagram. The one that starts with my TikTok, it pulls it into Google Drive, removes the watermark, and then posts it everywhere else. But YouTube really hates third-party softwares. So I try to schedule everything in YouTube first. Instagram and Facebook, they kind of really don't like third-party either, but their scheduling platform sucks so bad, I'm not going to use it. So in a world where you're fighting algorithms, I schedule and automate as much as I can. That way I can focus on the actual use of the app, you know? So with YouTube, you know, scheduling, posting shorts, definitely they promote channels that post shorts. And then if you like doing live content, there's a streaming software called Restream.io, and I used it for a little while when I was really starting to ramp up my want to do podcast. So what it allows you to do is be on a live podcast session and be streaming to YouTube and Facebook at the same time. So you're on live on Facebook, YouTube, and with the person on Zoom or whatever. I think I have mine integrated through Zoom. So that's beneficial just to get the live aspect, and then it always records, saves it, and then people want to watch the whole episode, they can go watch it when you post it. But that whole aspect there also helps just bring people in because it's live. Like people go live.
Similar.
Yeah. Restream's a little expensive, but their quality is way better. And you can create templates. You can create the editing tools within the software were so good. I mean, I think I paid like $150 for the year for it. It's about the same as a Zoom subscription. But if you're trying to really ramp up a podcast and go live at the same time, you should take a look at it. Just look at it because it allows you to, like, I could go in here, I could change this setup right now and like add a template, throw words in there while we're talking. There's a lot of things you could do with the app, probably more now. I haven't touched it in 2 years. But the coolest thing is I was able to go live. So, because right now you're not live on the app. So now when you get off of here, now you have to go spend time on the app. So like, how do you cut that time down? And that's kind of what a lot of people don't take into consideration when they're scheduling out their content and doing content is like, how else can I get content out there while I'm already doing it? A lot of people who do photography and videography, like I used to have like a camera going in the background just while I'm doing stuff to have the B-roll, GoPro, I did extensive videos over the GoPro hindsight feature. Like I have a 24-hour setup for my GoPro that I can just run around with. You get a 20,000 milliamp battery and run what's called hindsight. So it works as a dash cam. So when I hit the button, it actually started recording 30 seconds from when I hit the button prior to that. So a lot of fishermen didn't know about hindsight. So they're getting a bite on their rod and then trying to hit record and then set the hook on the fish versus I can set the hook on the fish, hit record button from my Bluetooth remote, and I got all of that and then hit stop. So you're only recording the parts that you need. If I'm in a large group setting, I would do that. So if somebody cracks a joke or something, I'd catch it. Like little things like that you already have the tools, but you have no idea that the back end of that GoPro has that software in it. And so many people didn't. But it's little things like that you got to utilize in today's world so you don't get so burnt out. Literally though, and that's kind of the same with any online marketer nowadays. A lot of times what you'll do is they set up a system and they go sell that system to so many people. Well, when you're working with different people all the time, those systems are always going to be the same, but the fundamentals are. And that's literally what I'm trying to do. It's slow, and I'm not taking any money up front right now because I'm trying to build my clientele, my case basis, and I'm doing really well. It's slow. But I'd rather work with a couple individuals I know who are going to put just as much work in as I am because it's only going to benefit both of us. And a lot of companies try to fight that, what I call the roles. I understand my role is not to tell somebody how to run their content. Let them run their content. They have a customer base. Obviously, it's a couple million followers, whatever. They know what they're doing. How can I integrate things that I know into what they're already doing to help provide them an income and I provide a service? And at the end of the day, that's all. As base core, that's what it is. So even with podcasting, take for instance, this podcast here. At its base core, you would love to talk to a lot of different people. What is the main kinds of people that you would want to talk to? And what kind of value are you expecting somebody to get when they come to your podcast to watch your channel? The question would be, at its base core, what value are you expecting somebody to get coming to watch your channel? Well, I hate to burst your bubble, but people are assholes. Nobody cares. So my question would be with the same question, if somebody was coming to your channel, or if somebody asked you about your channel, what value do you expect somebody to get from your channel, and how can you answer that in a couple sentences? Don't have to do it right now, but that's the question you have to answer first before any episode or any channel really should start. Like or if somebody else is randomly watching this for the first time or coming to my YouTube channel overall, what value are they expecting to get out of it? Because Joe Rogan obviously is he was already a famous person and he was already a talk show host. Yeah. He just wanted to talk to more people. As you're coming up from baseline, I understand where your thought process is, but now how do you relay that to somebody who does not give a flying F? And that's where I have honestly struggled with most of my time because I care a lot about things that I would consider things people should care about. Unfortunately. Yeah. And it's a sad truth a lot of us have to go through, and it sucks. I have a friend of mine, she does OnlyFans, and she's wanting to grow, but she doesn't do video content. She doesn't know how to do video content. And I saw a lot of this when TikTok first opened up. You had all these Instagram models coming over and got demolished because they're terrible on camera, they're awkward, or they're just terrible people in general. It's real easy to like put up a photo, but like when you're like having to put out video content, and that's kind of where that personalization comes in. People figured out real quick who was personable, who wasn't. Well, she's trying to grow, and I literally asked her because she was like, she's really wanting to get a management company, kind of similar to what you're like, I want to get brands in, you know. And I tried to explain to her exactly what a management company would do. And that question I just asked you is exactly what one of these brands are going to ask. And what I asked her was like, why should somebody follow you? And she was like, well, what do you mean? Like, obviously she's a good looking girl. And I was like, yeah, but I can find a lot of those online. Like, you're really wanting to build your following. Like, why should somebody follow you? Like, you have this other OnlyFans model. Well, she does everything outdoors. Like, there's other OnlyFans model. Like, she has all these like crazy videos of her like doing what I'm like, you just have some pictures. I was like, why should somebody follow you? And the radio silence was for a while. And I was honestly worried if she was gonna get mad at me or not. But I was just really just trying to be sincere. I was like, look, like, it's the world you live in nowadays. So like, if you're not able to answer those questions, you're not able to like guide your content in the right direction.
Right.
So like I said, don't answer it now, but just be thinking of that as you're building this podcast out. Is like, why should somebody follow you, and what value are they getting out of your content? I know what value you are getting out of this content. For instance, I have a friend of mine. Oh, man, if she hears this, she's gonna smack me upside the head. Because I haven't told her yet. I'm gonna have to tell her after I get off here now. But like, she started a podcast, all audio on Spotify, and I told her I was already telling her like, if you're not doing video, which you realized, it's gonna be hard to grow. But then I listened to her podcast, and it's like, this is just your confessions. Like, this is like Usher. Like, this is just you talking about how your life is going, and like, you're not really getting the listener. You're not like telling them how you overcame that and like what things they should look for in their life. Really brings like, you're literally just going on there talking about literally it's confessions. It wasn't even a podcast. So I got to tell her that, you know, and like, she's like, really, she said the same thing you said, you know, she's like, she wanted to build up a following, start building something. I was like, why should somebody follow you? You're just talking about confessions. Like, you're not really bringing interest in. And like, the problem is there's so many other people doing so much more, either interesting things or just more in general, that people don't realize. And like, that's what you're competing against. Like, always stay true to yourself. And if you can only put out one video a month, that's fine. But stay true to the message that you want to bring. But just remember what you're up against when it comes there. Then be realistic with yourself. You know, I think that kind of wraps up that thought process there. Yeah, that one.
Kind of figure out
myself. It was like a depressing moment because I always made like funny content, and at the end of the day, I was like, man, I am doing a lot of work for all this content. I'm not really getting the benefit out of it. And then I think I was in the middle of like, so I lived in an influencer house for 3 months with 7 other influencers, and I did all the business back end while they were paid for by the company and did all the content for the company. And I remember somebody asking me, you know, they asked me that question, you know, why should somebody follow you? And I was like, really taken back because I was like, well, I'm funny, but I looked over my content and I was like, well, I'm not really giving the message that I really feel like I want somebody to be. And that's kind of where my content started to change to more business oriented, more like, I didn't want to always be known as like the funny dude that danced on his kayak. Like, I'm way more like, my knowledge base is on a whole different level when it comes to that. So I actually had to basically shift what I was doing in a direction that aligned more with what I wanted my content or people to get out of my content. I don't think enough people have that conversation with themselves. Like I said earlier, man, experience is key with anything. And I've just had a lot of really weird experience because I've just tried so many different things in my life. I think that's also why I'm really able to relate to so many different people. Like, take cars, for instance. Dude, I've had like 20-something vehicles. Like, I grew up like Fast and Furious was my dream. Like, Too Fast, Too Furious, and then Tokyo Drift was like my whole car in high school was a Honda Civic. It was dropped on a body kit with like, I love cars, up and down, auto, everything. But then I can also sit down and have a marketing conversation with somebody, and I can turn around. I can turn this chair right around. And I've done wedding photography. I've done wedding videography. I understand how editing software works. Like, I've just literally, anytime I saw something I wanted to try, I just did it. No question, just immediately dropped and did it. And part of that was I got out of the party scene. I deleted anything that took up non-use space. Like, I don't watch sports. Like somebody comes out, hey, did you watch whatever game? I'm like, that's still going on. I'm not sure. I don't know. Like I just removed anything from my life that I felt like somebody else was taking time from. And that's why I don't play games. Like I was a huge Xbox, Call of Duty, Modern Warfare. Hell yeah, Halo. I would play till 2, 3 in the morning. Not anymore, but I have the experience. And I think life experience is really what people in general are lacking, because you can't relate to somebody that you also haven't been or done or even associated with anything close to what they're doing or going through. When I was bodybuilding, I had obviously a lot of people came to me wanting to know how to like. Bodybuilding is a different animal. If you can do bodybuilding, you can do literally anything, because it is 12 weeks of the most intense mental strains that you will ever go through. You're eating precisely calculated meals every single day on timelines, watching the amount of like how much you're focused on yourself, the amount of discipline that goes through that. I tell everybody, if you really want to like build some self-discipline, go through one competition prep with a fitness coach. You're going to be a totally different person. It doesn't matter how you do the comp. Don't even do the competition. My wife would do preps with me just so we're on the same mindset level. And if you can do that, you can literally do. I tell people anything, because it takes 90 days to really build a new lifestyle. But during that time, I would have people come to me, and want to like give them diets and train them. And around this time, keto diet was real popular, and people can I try this? Can I try that? I'm like, look. So I stopped training people, and I tried several diets. So I did a keto diet for 6 weeks, see what it did to me, see how I reacted, see how my body, like what things I went through. Because like, how am I supposed to give advice on something that I haven't even done myself? And that is my, like, to the core person who I am. Like, I will never talk to somebody about something. I'll give a general statement maybe, but like, I will never talk to somebody like in depth over a subject that I have never done myself, because I don't think I don't have the experience to relate to that. Which honestly, am I allowed to talk? I don't want to talk about politics too much at all, but like in a generalized statement, the idea of having a president that has never done anything wrong in their life at all, because I know so many people who come out like ex-cons and they become like these crazy billionaire gurus who give back to like their communities. Like look at Jelly Roll, the musician. Like the dude, watching him on podcasts, he has the most sincere, genuine part. Like I would trust it. I would trust my kids with him, But the idea of having a president that's never done a single, no detention, no after school sack, no nothing, like how are you able to have a humble sense about you if you have been told your entire life everything you've done is correct?
Yeah.
So I encourage failure. I encourage people to try new things, because they're gonna fail, but the learning experience you get from it is so much more beneficial. All right, I'll stop there. And there's so many. Actually, the girl I'm getting on a call with after this, who's gonna be helping me out with a few things. She's got almost 1 million followers, and that's her concern. Like I posted a video talking about how influencers are going to become irrelevant if you do not start providing value back to your customer, like your followers. And like we had a long conversation, because she is literally scared, because she was one of those TikTok influencers who came up dancing to videos, and now she's not getting paid as much. She's not getting, because like companies, I figured out that paying an influencer to post things, like if it doesn't align with really like a trusted following, you can have 1,000 of the most diehard followers, and that is worth way more than having 1 million followers that are just there, And we had a long conversation, because she is literally scared about that very thing, about losing her following, because she has no idea what she's doing with it. So I'm sitting her down. We're going to walk through, but she's an intelligent individual. She just needs a little pop in the head sometimes, But nobody's helping these people, man. And it's just, you'll have a manager come in. Oh yeah, I know, I can see all the brand deals you need, whatever. Just give me. I'm like, okay, well, what happens after the brand deal? What happens after the pay per post? You still have these people have millions of followers, and they're still going to work full time, dude. And I'm like, it grinds my gears. And I've also got into it with people's managers before, because I've watched them be conniving, and like at the end of the day, as long as you can answer those questions that I actually know, like, why should somebody follow your channel? What value are they going to get out of it? Or vice versa. Do something stupid. Like, I was testing with TikTok at one time. I would randomly hide a dinosaur in my video somewhere. It's like a little toy dinosaur. Just randomly hide it. And then I made a hashtag that said, find my dinosaur. And then in like 3 months, I wanted to see, like, that hashtag actually got like 2 million uses or whatever. But like, people would wait for my videos. They don't give a shit what I was posting or what. They wanted to see if I could find my dinosaur. It's literally sometimes something as small as that separates you enough that people just love to watch your videos. And like, for instance, with podcasts, like it could be something on the wall. It could be something like, I don't know if you follow, was it Sean Ryan? He's more of
No.
a conservative podcaster, ex-military. But one of his things is he always gives his guests a gift. And like for a while there, when I was doing TikTok during COVID, I would send somebody. Where are you from?
I'm from Virginia.
So you don't know about Buc-ee's, do you?
We're getting one probably in the next
year. What I
year.
would do for a little while is I would send people beaver nuggets, and then they would send me something from their part of the country that we don't have in Texas. I even had a friend of mine from Australia that I met in Thailand send me some stuff, and I shipped him some stuff because they can't get Black Rifle coffee down there. And people just wanted to see what. There's things across the country, like even though we all live in the U.S., it's all little different worlds, you know. It's sometimes something as small as that. So maybe the same content that you're putting out, they're getting the exact same content somebody else. There's an entertainment aspect of it, you know. It's just you have to find what works for you and then how you can replicate it. But I've tested half the time when I was posting videos on TikTok in the early days, I was just testing stuff, seeing what would work, what wouldn't work. And sometimes it's something literally as small as that. Like people were literally just coming to my videos to find out where I put the dinosaur. It's different. People want that dopamine hit. They want that difference. What makes it different? Like, why would I watch this over somebody else? And sometimes it's literally something as small as that just really separates somebody else because it's different. People want different. So I always thought in the beginning people wanted value and information. You got to sneak that in there. Really. Like, few people will. Like, when I go to TikTok, people don't realize that TikTok's algorithm is, it's deadly. Like, I have advanced my career in general in the last 2 years further than ever going to school. Because what I'll do is I'll be driving around, swiping on TikTok, listening for videos that pique my interest on certain topics. Then I'll save it and go back later and do deeper research. But because of that, I have actually exponentially, what word am I looking for? Grown like my real estate knowledge. My real estate knowledge, my finance knowledge, and my overall marketing knowledge in general. And I'm able to keep up with things so much faster because everything goes to TikTok first. Then it trickles to Instagram. Sometimes YouTube, but by the time you see it on Facebook, it's not even a trend anymore on TikTok. Yeah,
It's quick.
I made $60,000 on a crypto trade because I saw it trending on TikTok. I saw enough videos on my feed that I was like, so I went down to the bank, took a loan out from the bank, went and bought the crypto. 2 days later, it hit for 80 grand. So I took 60 out. Then lost the rest of it, but I took 60 out, paid the loan back, and then put the rest in my bank account. But my understanding through real estate and knowing how debt works was how I was able to like capitalize on that through crypto. And it's like, because I have also had my fingers in everything, I can sit down with an influencer and I can give them avenues that they never even thought of. I know it's a lot.
Yeah.
One episode. There's so many, like we have a saying in the South, you probably have it up there, you know, there's 1,000 ways or 100 ways to skin a cat. You know, it's just finding the way that you can do over and over and over again repeatedly and be able to attract new customers. And a lot of that comes with being real with yourself. Like I've had to be real with myself. Moving every 3 months in California, they're not a very outdoorsy kind of state with near the cities. My wife is a travel nurse. We have to be close to the hospital. And like even like right now, we're in Palm Springs. I'm in the desert. I am 2 hours from the closest body of water. I brought my boat back because I'm not even using my boat. My kayak's in the garage. I'm not even really using the kayak either. I haven't even really been fishing at all. I had to kind of honestly be real with myself and be like, look, I can continue to try to be an outdoor influencer and a kayak fisherman, or I can sit here and use the process that I know to help other people because I can do this at 5 days a week. The other stuff I can't. And sometimes it's literally, my wife had to hit me in the head a couple times. I think she probably dropped me a couple times too, but being able to be honest and real with yourself and like take the emotion out of it, because it was an emotional moment for me because I've been working so hard for so long. But every time I turned around for the last 3 to 4 years, because the lifestyle that I was living has just made that even harder. And I just kept fighting. It instead of just taking it for what it was. YouTube revenue is slow. It's really going to be, you know, first you got to answer those questions. If you can answer those questions, the rest of it comes super easy. I can help you. But if you can't answer those 2 questions, you know, why should somebody follow you and what value are they going to get out of your content? there's really no direction for us to point, right? But
Right.
if you know those two answers, the rest of it's easy. That's where I come in. Well, yeah, I think hopefully in the future, I don't know how long you're wanting to do this, but I'm about to wrap this up here soon.
Yeah.
But you're on the right track at least, because repetition, right? Well, now you get repetition down. Now that's the hardest part, is getting film the content, post the content, film the content, post the content. You get that down, the rest of it just comes easy, because you're just changing one thing here or there. You're changing like angle of the camera, a little more lighting. It's the actual process. Once you get the process down, and all life is system and processes. That's all it is.
Right.
So yeah, well, after we finish this, there's a couple things I do want to talk to you about. It is I've had we make fun of this person, but it's a different world nowadays. But there's literally a girl that has asked me the same question like 8 times, like a bunch of us too. I can't tell you how many influencers will be like, "Hey, what camera do you use?" And I have a 4K camera, but people don't even realize that it's not about the camera. Like, I know how to use. I spent years training for this piece of equipment, and people literally think it's as easy as buying it, grabbing it, and hitting out the door. And that's how they kind of think about social media sometimes. And I'm like, and that's why you see a lot of these people who build this fame real quick off their iPhone, try to scale up professionally, and it nosedives. And I try to catch it before it happens. Mainly in the outdoor world right now, I'm helping the Western and outdoor industry because they're even further behind, and they kind of tend to listen. But I'm hoping to branch out to other industries and other niches as well.
Down, down.